they're actually going to be getting infusions like every 5 minutes. So they won't be mindful of it any more so than you are of your own respiration, right? But it'll be happening, though it's a continuous infusion. At least it's discrete, obviously, but it's discrete every 5 minutes. So you're getting 288 infusions a day, essentially, roughly. So the point is that it is always going on in the back. It's a backdrop to your life, but you don't have to be paying attention to it anymore. You don't have to be thinking about your insulin dosing because the device is doing all of that for you. Sure, it is a device. It's not a cure. It's a therapy. It is a therapy that has certain risks that we do our best to mitigate against, but the sensor could fail. And we have lots of ways to mitigate against that happening. If the sensor does fail, how does the device perform? We've actually been testing that in clinical trials as well. So in a natural course of things, sensors get sweat off, people have the adhesives fail and so forth. And so we are able to test the device when the sensor's offline. When infusion sets fail, you'll sometimes see their blood sugars go very high. They have to change the set. The device is very, very good at returning their blood sugar safely to normal all by itself. So we have seen lots of these things play out in clinical trials, and we built lots of risk mitigation into handling those kinds of failures. Ultimately, you can't mitigate all possible risks under all scenarios, but you do your best to mitigate as much as you can. We are actually very sensitive to that because we know that the solution we're building here is one for the West. Developing countries would have a very hard time affording technology like this. So the cost is going to be high and comparable to what you see in the insulin pump business today and in the CGM business today. We have certain ideas about how we might be able to reduce some of those costs, but ultimately they're still going to be roughly on par with the standard practices of pump and CGM therapy today. And those costs are fairly well known. Where we're headed with all this is to build a fully integrated system. So we're working with our industrial collaborators to build a fully integrated bionic pancreas where all of these components will be under the roof of a single handheld unit. 2 pumping systems, an integrated CGM, and all of our mathematical algorithms embedded in firmware on that device. It'll be one Class 3 medical device. So we're working on that problem now, and then that becomes the platform we go forward with next year to begin testing that system, which will essentially be recapitulating all the technology that's here, but in a much more compact platform that's really designed as a Class 3 system. And that will be tested in clinical trials next year and the year after in a final pivotal study that would then be the registration trial for final approval of the device from the FDA.